What happens when somebody cancels a membership subscription? So I think what I might do today is answer that a bit more fully with how do you create a workflow when somebody cancels a subscription? Because I know that most of you either do currently have a subscription or you're planning on creating some kind of membership or subscription down the line. So I will actually do a quick demo and show you what a typical unsubscribe workflow might look like, if you might find that helpful. But then also just pre-frame this with what you decide to do when somebody unsubscribes is actually a completely personal policy or procedure that you need to decide yourself what that is. Obviously, I can't speak to different legislations in different countries and different industries, but generally speaking, my personal preference is that if someone's paid for an entire month and they choose to cancel, I allow my students to have obviously full access right up until the point at which that month's subscription comes to an end. Now, you can do automations with that. However, we make it a manual process if there is still like an extended period left of their subscription. You'll find, unless you've got thousands and thousands of members, it's really not an onerous task, right? Hopefully your churn rate isn't huge. So even with the numbers that we have, we're barely doing that once a month. It's really not a massive job to have to go, oh, Lorna's decided to cancel. Let's just make a note in the diary that on the 28th of September, whenever her payment period was finished, that we'll just make sure her access is like officially all checked, all turned off. We're going to double check her Stripe, make sure that she's not going to get charged again. So we just do that double check. Febby might be able to correct me on some of the processes because Febby does take care of all of that. But what I am going to show you first of all is an example of unsubscribe. Now I'll just see if I've got one in here that you can look at. If not, I will build a new one. Unsubscribe from email. Oh, no, it's not. It's cancel, isn't it? My bad. Cancellation, not unsubscribe. Cancelling from a membership. All right. So we've got cancelled a subscription. So I'll show you first of all one that's finished, and then I'll show you basically how we make this. Now it does look a little bit scary with all of these different things going on up here, but essentially you're going to decide in-house what is it that triggers somebody cancelling your membership. Now, I personally give everybody a cancellation form to fill in, because once you've got a form, not only are you getting them to formally and officially check the box and say, yes, I do officially want to cancel, I want to lose my access to everything, but when somebody fills in a form, as you probably know by now, that can then allow a whole bunch of actions to trigger in a workflow. So what we have here is the main trigger of our Legends Lab, for instance, being cancelled, is that somebody has filled in the cancellation form. And all that is a form inside Techmatics that is just first name, last name, and email address with a tick box that says, I officially want to cancel my membership or subscription for the blah blah thing. And they tick the box and press cancel my subscription. And that's all it is. There's no big long stuff to fill out. And once they have submitted that cancellation form, then the automation goes ahead. And I will explain these other things in a moment, and I'll show you how you can do those as well, because you can also trigger this by something being cancelled from Stripe as well, which is what you'll see along here. But it's actually really only this form that triggers this process. So what happens is we actually tag them to say that they've cancelled the XYZ membership. Let me make this bigger for you so it's easier for you to read. So there's some really loud helicopters circling around my house right now, and it's driving me insane. We also add a note to the client record that literally just says, contact first name has cancelled their membership to the XYZ subscription. Note to self, could be an expired card. We remove their tag that says they're an active member, because obviously they're not an active member anymore. And the active member tag puts them into the members smart list or email list. So we want to remove that active members tag so that they don't remain inside our members mailing list. Now we also move them to the right stage of our customer journey, because whenever somebody's cancelled something, they're no longer in the customer stage. Now they need to move to the stage in your customer journey that's called cancelled or lost or no longer a client. Okay, so we have a step in here that moves them to the right stage of the customer journey. And we then send them an email excuse me, saying, sorry to see you go. I hope you've had a great time here. Look forward to seeing you come back another time. Wishing you all the best. Would you like to leave a review? And then I have an internal notification that goes to Febby just to remove their Facebook group access and check that they've had their Telegram channel access removed as well. So that's just an internal notification. You see here, internal notification, just goes privately to Febby, says, please make sure that you cancel all of their access to everything. Then we use the automations to revoke and remove them from all the courses. So these automations here are called course revoke offer. So you just add an action called course revoke offer and then choose all of the products that you want them to have the access removed from. And then, of course, if you have a workflow that they're sat in as being a member of that particular subscription or that particular membership, we just tell the system, remove them from those workflows. So remove them from anything they might be sat in right now that's related to that membership. Simple simples, okay? So I'll just show you what these other things are at the top, and I'll do that by just quickly going in and creating a new one, because it's always easier to see these things sometimes from the beginning. And I better just change this to a pretend account so I don't mess stuff up in here. All right, so I'm going to go into automated workflows. Now, I just also want to remind you that we do have a really incredible AI workflow builder in here now. My internet is being dreadfully slow. Come along, let's refresh her. That will also create your workflows for you. So you don't always have to know what you're doing anymore. It can actually just do it all the work. As an example, if I go build using AI, we could say a workflow to remove access when somebody cancels a membership subscription, and press build workflow. Whoop. Here's a cool little trick for you. So you can just go make your cup of tea and your little AI employee workflow builder. It's running that hamster wheel for you. Finalizing and validating. I'm very intrigued to see how this one comes out. It's always fun to test these. Nearly there. And just remembering again, we just really want to worry about what are our core needs. As long as we've got client notes, tags removed and added, access granted or revoked, they are our important steps here. So here we go. It's actually created the trigger for us. And it's saying that the workflow trigger, they're triggering it by tags added or removed. So I don't like that at all. I'm going to delete it because we are not manually adding tags. We're going to do, let's stick with our forms, shall we? So we're going to make our trigger, form has been submitted. What form? So the form is, and then you've obviously got to go and make sure you've pre-created your cancellation form, which I don't think I've done in this particular account. So I'm just going to pick a completely random one. So it's going to be form submitted, cancellation. Now, the other triggers that you can have for a cancellation workflow is triggers related to payment status. So if you type in, here we go, subscription. It's actually subscription. So going down to the payments section of actions, you have an action under this payments category called subscription. So click on subscription, and this is where you're going to create a number of different triggers, because it could be that they cancelled via filling in the cancellation form, which we've added as a trigger, but it could also be that the global product is, and then you've got to go and find your membership. I don't know if I've got a pretend membership in here. Yes, I have the monthly subscription to my barista course. All right, so I wonder what filters these are. Status is, I just want to double check. Okay, yeah, we go. So we do have to add the second step. So we're telling the system that we've gone to the subscriptions section and our product is our membership, and the status of that subscription is either cancelled, expired, or incomplete, or overdue, or paused, or unpaid. So what we're actually going to do is create a trigger for all of those, because this gets pulled in from your Stripe account. So for instance, if you're a member, let's say Febby's one of my students, and her payment is expired, her payment method, like her credit card expires, let's choose that one, this workflow will now trigger. So in my trigger name, I'm going to put card expired. That's one of the triggers. Subscription, the product is my membership, and the status is expired. That's now added something that's going to trigger off this workflow. But there are more. We want to also go back to our triggers and add another one, subscription. We're going to find the subscription trigger. Again, we need to tell the system what the product is. So the global product is our membership. So let me just go and find that barista course again. There it is. Let's pretend that's my barista course. This time, instead of card expired, let's say the payment's been cancelled. So we're going to say the status is cancelled. So this could be that they have manually gone in and cancelled their payments. So that happens inside Stripe. So this one's going to be called cancelled. Save trigger. Now this workflow will fire if they either submit the cancellation form, or their credit card expires in Stripe, or they've cancelled their payments in Stripe. And we'll just cover our butts for some more as well. Let's do some more. Subscription, we're going to find the subscription sections again. Again, we've got to tell the system what's the course or the product. So let's go find our membership, same one, same membership. And our trigger for this one could be that the payment status is overdue. Let's pick that one. So again, this is coming from Stripe. What happens in Stripe, if you go to your Stripe settings, you can choose how many times you want Stripe to retry the payment. Now, if Stripe's tried this payment, let's say more than the 3 times you've set it at, their payment is now overdue, you can now again use this subscription to manage that payment issue. So I'm going to change subscription and make this an overdue payment. Oh, put that correct. Save trigger. As you can see, now we have membership or subscription, cancellation, or payment failed for some reason. Yep. That's this whole thing we're doing here. Whether they cancel through the form, whether they cancel because their card expired, whether it cancels because they actually cancelled their payments or it's overdue, you can keep going into subscription, adding all of the other triggers as well. This is now going to fire off your sequence. Now, I recommend you have a number of different steps, as I've showed in my example. Number one is you're going to want to tag them. As always, make sure you're tagging. So you might want to say XYZ membership payment failed or declined for some reason, and that's your tag you might add. Okay, so failed or cancelled. Save. You now might want to send an email to them. Okay, this bit's always really important because you must always assume when a payment fails that the client doesn't know. It happens to all of us. I recommend being really kind, really loving, and just assuming that they have no idea their card or their payment has failed, and just use this email as an opportunity to say, oh, whoopsie, just letting you know your payment didn't go through. Is everything okay? Can we help you out? What would you like us to do to fix this? You can also blame your tech too, all right? Sometimes tech just doesn't work. And sometimes what will happen with Stripe is that Stripe will trigger that it's overdue before it recognizes that person did actually pay, because there's always that time between when somebody makes a payment and the money's traveling in thin air through to the Stripe account. Sometimes Stripe thinks that the payment hasn't been received when actually it's in the air on its way. And so this can sometimes trigger because of that. And you'll have someone saying, I did pay. So you also just want to, again, take the humble path in your communication style by blaming tech rather than blaming your customer, all right? So please don't word it like, you have not sent us your payment, we're going to remove your access today. Just say, oh, whoopsie, don't know if we've got a tech glitch or not. Just letting you know, it looks like your payment hasn't been received. If this is a mistake, please don't worry. Reply back and let me know. It's all good. Just be careful of that language you're using because it's really important. We completely stuffed up with that language in the early days and it made people really upset, and it also makes people feel very embarrassed when they're going through a financial challenge. So just write it how you'd like to receive it is the best I can say there. So I'm just going to chuck this in. Might be an issue with our tech. All good. Don't worry. Don't panic. We can sort it out. We love you. Okay? Is the email that you're sending. Oh, I've always got to put an email address in here. Are you going to let me save? Yes, cool. So we first of all send that communication out. Lots of love, lots of support. We also like to add a note to the customer record. I certainly do. I love having a note on the customer record. So we're going to type in note, add to notes. And I like to pop in, even though the date and the timestamp will actually show on the client's note, it does that automatically. Sometimes you might just like to add in this little custom value here. Click on right now, and you can pick the full date. So let's do day of the week. I am in Australian time, so I do day, month, year, but you can choose it any way round, regardless of what country you're in. So now, date and time. And then I'll put, why is this? Is it because I'm big? I'm now going to choose the contact's full name, has cancelled their membership to the XYZ thing, or this could be a card issue. They have been added to the cancelled or failed membership workflow. So you've just got this note sat on their record as to what may have happened. And that's really helpful if you're ever looking back through your history. So keep good notes. I wish I could get rid of this flipping thing over here. Ah, yes, did it. Okay, good. Just FYI, I got rid of that screen by just pressing the AI button here. So if I press it again, it opens it. Press it again, it closes it. There we go. We have tagged them. We have added an email. We've put a note on the client record. We also have these actions now to revoke access. So course, revoke, offer. And then we're going to choose what things we are removing access for. So this will automatically remove access to whatever it is that they need to have access removed. You've got to add a new one for every single product you want them removed from. Now, of course, you saw in there, we did things like move their customer journey stage. So another action is we type in opportunity, because opportunity is related to our customer journey. Opportunities are all about sales. So again, we're going to choose our customer journey pipeline. Let's pretend there's my customer journey, and we're moving them to the stage. Oh, we don't even have a stage in there for cancelled. Let's show you how to do that in a second. So let's press save and save again because, and I'm going to just press duplicate so I can come back to this in a minute. We need to have a stage in our customer journey for cancelled or failed. So let me show you how to do that. Click on customer journey on your main menu, and you're going to go and find your pipeline for your customer journey. Don't be going and creating millions of them. So I did Sarah's customer journey. Let's pretend that's my actual customer journey. Oh, look, there's no stage in there for someone's cancelled or failed. So we're going to press add a stage because you can update your customer journey at any time. And I'm going to call this cancelled or failed or lost. Okay. I don't think we need the ors in it, do we? Let's just do cancelled, failed, lost. This is important because that's going to be obviously when we stop necessarily chasing them up. So we've now got that stage. I'm just going to go back to the workflow. I'm going to press refresh on this screen because it needs to refresh to pick up something new that we've done. So now we can go to opportunity, customer journey. Let's now move them to the stage called cancelled, failed, or lost. And their opportunity name is their full name. Source, that will already have pulled over from where, however they came in. Value is what basically you've lost, essentially. So if they are paying you for an annual membership of $1,500, then obviously you're going to put in the value of what's been lost. And the status is now lost or abandoned. I'm just going to put lost, and lost reason, we don't have it in there at the moment, but I'm just going to put lost and press save. So now it's going to move them to that stage in the customer journey. So of course you can go in and add any other steps that you want in there, but hopefully now that gives you a really good idea as to how you can create yourself a really neat set of reminders and follow-ups or systems for any kind of accidental or purposeful cancellation. Does that help? Yep, new tricks, new tricks. Lovely.